Once upon a time, when Rapunzel, who had long golden hair, heard about the circus coming to the city, she got down from her tower with excitement and went to the market. When she saw the colorful lights and tents, she went inside. While she was wandering around admiringly, she heard someone crying from afar. Why would anyone cry in such a happy place? Thought Rapunzel. She approached the lion, which was standing there with its back turned, with curiosity. "Dear lion, is it you who is crying?" The lion looked a little unhappy but said,
"No, I'm not the one crying."
This time Rapunzel saw the panda trying to ride a unicycle. "Panda, are those sobs coming from you?" Panda looked at Rapunzel with surprise.
"No,"
he replied.
"I can't cry riding a unicycle."
Rapunzel continued on her way, but suddenly a clown blocked her way.
"Come on, let's laugh a little,"
he said and walked away spinning the ball. While Rapunzel was watching the clown with admiration, the cry was heard even closer.
Woo-hoo, woo-hoo.
Rapunzel couldn't believe her eyes when she entered another small tent ahead, because the wooden boy Pinocchio was looking at her from inside the cage, crying. "Pinocchio, are you the one crying? Who locked you here like this?"
No, I am not crying.
As soon as he said this, Pinocchio's nose grew longer. Rapunzel insisted that he tell the truth, but when Pinocchio said,
"I am not crying, I am very good,"
again, his wooden nose grew longer again. "Oh, Pinocchio, why are you lying? I see. Look, your nose is getting longer. Come on, tell me, why are you locked in this cage?" Pinocchio told Rapunzel that the circus owner had deceived him and imprisoned him here.
"Moreover, everyone is forced to work here,"
he said. Rapunzel was very sad about the situation of Pinocchio and the others. It turns out that no one was happy in the circus that she was so curious about. Well, I have a good plan in mind. Rapunzel quickly went and appeared in front of the circus owner. "Hey, circus owner, I am a very famous magician, and this is my magic cabinet. I can help you make a lot of money." The evil circus owner accepted the offer as soon as he heard about money. The circus was packed. After acrobatics and exciting shows, Rapunzel appeared on stage. "For this crazy show, I invite the circus owner to the stage with your applause." The circus owner went on stage accompanied by applause and entered the closet unaware of everything. As soon as Rapunzel said, "Hocus pocus," every part of the cabinet was locked. "The person you see here is forcing everyone in the circus to work. He's a bad person. Come on, my friends, run away from the circus."
No!
The audience applauded when they learned the truth. In this way, while all the animals escaped, Pinocchio came and hugged Rapunzel.
"Thank you so much, Rapunzel, for being so kind-hearted and saving us all."
The greedy circus owner, who did everything but for money, was finally punished. However, real wealth arises from cooperation and solidarity, like the one between Rapunzel and Pinocchio.
Once upon a time, there was a baby elephant named Dimbo who lived with his parents and was very bored of his life in the forest. He wanted to go far and explore new places. He would go around the whole forest and meet new people, but his friend the little mouse kept telling him that the world was very big and that there were too many other places still to be seen. So Dimbo made up his mind. He was going to go on a long journey and explore new destinations. One day, he went over to his parents to tell them all about it.
I'm bored of being in the same forest. I want to go and explore new places.
My baby, this is our home. And plus, we don't know what's out there for us.
Out of the forest? Humans can be very dangerous.
Dimbo listened to his parents, but did not really take notice of what was being said. He still wanted to see the world out of the forest. The same night, after everyone fell asleep, he left home and began to walk towards the end of the forest. It was now too dark. He could hardly find his way. Right at that moment, he realized that something was coming towards him. Suddenly, before he could move further, he found himself in a big net. He tried to get away, but there was no hope. After a while, he heard some noises. People yelling, cheering.
We got him!
Yay!
We got him!
Oh, yeah! Don't hold his back!
Come on!
Before he could even understand what was happening, Dimbo moved up from the ground and into a dark box. The lid of the box shut down on him and the box suddenly began to move. Scared little Dimbo did not know what to do. Suddenly he heard a voice.
So, they caught you too, huh?
When he looked at the direction of the sound, he realized it was one of the monkeys from the forest.
Who got me?
Humans!
But why did they catch me? I didn't do anything to them.
I didn't do anything either, but they're planning to do something to us.
The monkey was right. The people who caught Dimbo and the monkey were working for a circus in the town. They were taking the animals that they had caught to the circus to use them in the shows. In the morning, when she could not see her baby, the mummy elephant got worried. She asked her children if they had seen Dimbo or not, but they had also not seen him since last night. In a hurry, Mummy Elephant went next to Daddy Elephant.
Dimbo's not here, he's gone.
So he did what he said. We have to find him before something happens to him.
His family found Dimbo's friend, the mouse, and told him all that had happened. The mouse was really sad.
It's all because of me. I told him that there's also life outside the forest. Don't worry, we will find him.
Days had passed. Dimbo was held in an area surrounded by barbed wire next to the circus tent. His friend the monkey was kept in a cage. The people of the circus were preparing for the shows that were going to begin 1 week later. Dimbo was watching these people, circus tents and the trucks, in astonishment, because it was the first time he was seeing things such as these.
What is this thing called circus? And why are they keeping me here?
While Dimbo was thinking about this, 2 men came and took him out of the barbed wire fence. When brought to this circus, Dimbo was horrified by the view he saw. A while later, the owner of the circus, who was also an animal trainer, came next to Dimbo with a whip in his hand.
You will do the tricks exactly as I will show you. Best part of the show will be yours alone, or else you will not like your punishment.
Dimbo was very frightened. He tried to do the tricks the circus owner was teaching him. At At the same time, his friend the mouse was looking for Dimbo all over the forest. He asked about him to all the animals he saw, but no one knew a thing. A small pink bird saw the hopeless mouse wandering around and flew next to him to ask what his problem was.
I'm looking for my friend Dimbo.
Dimbo? You mean the stubborn baby elephant Dimbo?
Yes, I think he left the forest and went to the city.
As my mother told me when I was a little baby, Dimbo saved my life. If he's in trouble now, I would like to help.
You can fly to the city to look for Dimbo. If he's there, I'm sure you're going to find him.
Sure. Don't you worry. I will find him.
The little pink bird went up immediately and began to fly towards the city. After flying for a couple of hours, she noticed the big colourful circus tents and some trucks in the distance. She flew over to them. And what did she see? Some people putting Dimbo back into the fenced area. She immediately flew next to Dimbo.
Hello, Dimbo. I'm so happy that I found you. Your family and your friends are so worried.
Some people have imprisoned me here. They will put me in the show next week.
Really? You don't worry, we will get you out of here. I will now go and let your family know about the situation.
The bird flew up into the sky and made her way to the forest. Dimbo was very happy because he knew he was going to be saved. The little bird went next to Dimbo's family and told them all about it. Mummy and Daddy Elephant were very happy.
We'll leave early in the morning. We will take our baby back from the humans.
Early in the morning, Dimbo's family, the mouse and the bird began their journey to the city. The elephants and the mouse were not as fast as the bird. There was a long journey waiting for them. Back at the circus, Dimbo and the other animals were preparing for the big show. While the wild monkey was being funny with the clowns, Dimbo was trying to do the tricks the circus owner had taught him.
Come on now, you have to jump higher.
The circus owner was asking him to do things that an elephant could not do. So Dimbo remembered what had happened to him when he tried to do the things that the other animals had done.
I hope Mommy and Daddy can come quickly to save me from here.
Exactly 1 day had passed by, and it was now the show day. Lights of the circus were shining, and a lot of people were coming into the tent. Dimbo's family, the mouse and the little pink bird, came next to the circus tent. In the area that was fenced with barbed wire, they saw Dimbo.
There he is!
Yes, but how will we save him from there?
I will go talk to Dimbo.
I'm coming too.
The mouse and the bird went over to Dimbo. The mouse went under the fence and went next to Dimbo.
Psst! Dimbo, look here.
Hey, buddy.
Meanwhile, the little pink bird got a closer look at the iron door.
The door is locked. It will be hard to find the keys.
When it's my turn, they will open the door. Then we can run away.
Okay, we will make a plan. Wait for us.
In the meantime, the show continued at the circus. The monkey and the clown were trying to be funny so that the guests could laugh. After they finished their show and left the stage, the circus owner went on the stage.
Dear guests, next we will have our magician on stage.
The circus owner left the stage and continued to the back. He asked his men to bring the elephant. His men went outside and opened the door to the fence where Dimbo was kept. Right at that moment, there was a loud noise, and when they looked where it was coming from, they saw 4 elephants charging towards them. The men left everything and ran away. And when they left, Dimbo could easily escape and was very happy to see his family.
Come on, we need to get away fast.
No!
Upon Dimbo's answer, they were all shocked.
First, we have to save my other imprisoned friends. Let's distract them so that the mouse and the bird can open their cages.
The 4 elephants began to run around the circus. Daddy Elephant went into the tent. Everybody began to run around in fear. At the same time, the bird was opening the locks of the cages. The mouse was opening the gates so that all the animals could get out. They all ran away into the forest. The circus owner was shocked and did not understand what was going on. He was furious. While he was running around, the whole tent came down on him. Dimbo, his family, and his friends stopped to take a break when they were in a safe area away from the circus. They were all tired, but very happy. At that present moment, the monkey came next to them.
Dimbo, I thank you on behalf of all the animals you saved from the circus. Instead of running away while you had the chance, you chose to save us too.
My friends, I'm sure you would do the same for me. Living in the forest taught me friendship and to help one another.
Yes, we always should care for one another, otherwise life can be very, very hard on us.
Well, Dimbo, when is your next trip?
Next time you'll decide to leave the forest, do let us know about it.
Daddy, Mommy, my sister, my brother, I'm really sorry that I got you worried. I made a mess. Don't worry, I won't ever leave this beautiful forest again.
So they all continued their journey back to the forest. Without ever complaining again, Dimbo lived a happy life in the forest. A long time ago, in a small town, there lived an old toy maker named Geppetto. He sold wooden toys that he made to get by. The only thing the old toy maker regretted in his life was not having a child. One day, when he was walking in the woods, he found just the right log for his new toy.
Just the log I was looking for. I will make a beautiful puppet with it.
Geppetto took the log on his back and carried it to his workshop. He put the log on his table and started to carve. But suddenly something unexpected happened and he heard a voice coming from the log.
Ah!
Geppetto was stunned at first, but then thought that he was mistaken. Geppetto kept on carving, but then he heard the same voice again.
Ah!
I must be getting really old. I am hearing voices.
Geppetto kept on working. First the head of the puppet came out. Then finally his arms and legs followed. Geppetto finally finished the puppet, sat him on a chair, and started to tidy up. At that moment, he heard another voice.
Hello?
Geppetto looked around stunned, but he could not see anybody else than the wooden puppet. So he kept on with his work. After a short while, the puppet jumped down from the chair and started dancing in the room. Seeing this, Geppetto really struggled not to faint.
Oh my God! This puppet is alive!
Of course it wasn't a real kid, but it sure laughed, talked, and played like one. Geppetto held the puppet in his arms.
From now on, your name shall be Pinocchio, my child.
Geppetto and Pinocchio started to have happy times together. It was time for Pinocchio to go to school. But Geppetto did not have the money to buy Pinocchio his school stationery. Therefore, he sold his coat and gave the money to Pinocchio. Pinocchio took the money and got on his way to school with joy. Watching all the shops, people and the marketplaces on the way. Suddenly, he saw a commotion ahead. To find out what was going on, he went amongst the crowd. Because he was so short, he barely walked past everyone to get to the front. What he saw was a big, colourful tent. It was a circus tent. The clown in front of the tent was calling out customers. Pinocchio was curious to see what was inside, but the clown stopped him from entering.
You can't go inside unless you pay.
Pinocchio thought for a while and remembered the money Geppetto gave him for school.
I have money.
He took the money out of his pocket and gave it to the clown. Inside the tent was extreme fun. He saw puppets playing on the stage in the middle of the tent.
Hey, they're also made out of wood.
Jumping on the stage, Pinocchio started to dance amongst the puppets. But the spectators of the show were angry with him.
Get off the stage!
The owner of the circus above the stage, holding the strings of the puppets, got very happy to see a live puppet.
A puppet without strings would make me a lot of money. Ha 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 ha.
He thought. And as soon as the show was over, he caught Pinocchio and put him in a cage. Pinocchio was very upset that he did not listen to Geppetto and went directly to school, so he started to cry. Seeing how regretful Pinocchio was, a fairy appeared right next to him. You should have done what your father told you to do, but I see that you are aware of your mistake now. That is why I will save you, but don't you ever do the same mistake again. Pinocchio was very happy. He wiped his tears away.
But I have no money. How am I going to go to school now?
The fairy cast a spell, and money appeared in Pinocchio's hand. Do not waste this money. Go straight to school. The fairy took Pinocchio out of the circus. Singing with joy, Pinocchio was on his way to school once again.
La 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 la.
Seeing Pinocchio joyfully singing, the shifty fox and his friends, the cat, cut Pinocchio's way. And they made a plan to take away Pinocchio's money.
Where are you going so joyfully anyway?
I'm going to buy some stationery and go to school.
This money won't be enough for stationery. If you do as we say, you'll have much more money.
What do you want me to do?
You give us that money and we'll plant it in the magic field. And you too can have a money tree. You can go and pick the money up whenever you need.
The naive Pinocchio believed everything Fox had said and gave away his money. Taking away the money, the fox and the cat quickly got away. Being left alone, the fairy appeared next to Pinocchio again. Why aren't you still at school? Did you get the stationery with the money I gave you? Actually, the fairy knew that he gave his money to the fox. She warned Pinocchio. Don't you lie to me, or I will punish you. Pinocchio did not listen to the fairy and lied anyway.
I bought the stationery but left them at school.
As soon as Pinocchio finished his sentence, his nose started to grow. Are you telling the truth? As he told more lies, Pinocchio's nose kept on growing and growing. At the end, he couldn't even move his head.
But how? What is going on?
Finally, he realized his mistake and told the fairy all about what had happened. Seeing that Pinocchio had taken the right path, the fairy brought his nose back to normal. I am forgiving you because you told the truth. With another spell, she gave back the money the fox had taken. And she once more warned him not to waste any more of his money. Holding the money in his hand, singing along, Pinocchio started to walk again. But this time round, he was facing another type of danger. The circus owner that had captured him was standing right there before his eyes. Because he had gotten away, the circus owner was very cross with Pinocchio. He wanted to punish him. He caught Pinocchio and threw him in the sea. When Pinocchio fell over into the sea, he did not sink. He stayed afloat on the water because he was made of wood. Pinocchio really liked this feeling and started to swim by moving his arms and legs. And it all happened while he was swimming to the shore.
Hey, what's going on? Where am I?
Pinocchio suddenly found himself in a dark place. He looked around but could not see a way out. Actually, Pinocchio was swallowed by a giant fish, and now he was sitting right in the middle of his stomach. Meanwhile, Geppetto was worried about Pinocchio, and he went out to search for him.
Pinocchio! Pinocchio!
Finally, he had reached the shore where Pinocchio was thrown in the sea. He asked the fishermen whether they had seen his son or not. One of the fishermen remembered the boy Geppetto was asking for, and he told him that he fell down in the sea. Geppetto asked the fisherman for help. Knowing how good a person Geppetto was, the fisherman could not refuse to help. And so he gave him a small boat to save Pinocchio. Geppetto jumped on the boat and sailed to the sea. After a while, suddenly a big storm had begun. The small boat could not handle the big waves anymore and collapsed. And Geppetto found himself in the middle of the sea. Geppetto was old and also did not know how to swim, so he started to sink deep into the water. Right at that moment, the giant fish which had swallowed Pinocchio also swallowed Geppetto. Geppetto slid down the fish's throat straight into his stomach, and he heard the crying voice of a child. He, of course, recognized this voice right away.
Pinocchio, my son, I finally found you. I was so worried.
Hearing his father's voice, Pinocchio hugged Geppetto in tears.
I'm so sorry I didn't listen to you, Daddy. Forgive me. I will always do what you say.
Seeing that this time Pinocchio was really sorry, the fairy decided to rescue them. She took Geppetto and Pinocchio out of the fish's belly and flew them onto the shore. Pinocchio became a very clever boy after that day and always listened to his father. Went to school every day, and after school he ran home to help his father in his workshop. The fairy saw what a nice boy Pinocchio became and decided to give him a prize. One night, when Pinocchio was sleeping, she came next to his bed and cast a spell on him. In the morning, Pinocchio woke up to get ready for school, as always. Just as he was getting out of bed, he realized that something was different. First, he looked at his hands, and then to his body. He was shocked. He was not made of wood anymore. He was a normal boy, right in the flesh. He jumped with joy from his bed and ran next to his father.
Daddy! Daddy! Look at me!
Seeing Pinocchio as a real boy made Geppetto very happy.
Finally, I have a real son.
Father and son, they hugged each other with tears of joy. Pinocchio never lied again, and his nose always stayed where it was.
On a sunny spring day, everyone was on the streets to find a Father's Day gift. The toy maker Geppetto, who was standing alone in his shop, was looking out sadly because he didn't have a son to give him a Father's Day gift. His cat Tutu came and sat on Geppetto's lap.
Ah, I wish I had a child. Of course, you're a child of mine, Tutu.
Geppetto wanted to make a childlike toy for the first time that day. And he took a piece of pine tree stumps and began to carve it.
Ouch!
What? Did you say something, Tutu?
Geppetto heard strange sounds as he carved the log.
Ow! Ugh!
While Geppetto was painting the stump he had delicately carved, he left it on the table and went out in front of the shop with curiosity. At that time, the log in the form of a puppet boy jumped up from the table. Geppetto couldn't believe his eyes.
Hello!
There was a talking puppet standing in front of him.
You're a talking puppet boy. You are my Father's Day gift.
Father's Day? Are you my father?
Yes, son. You are now my son, too. And your name is... Let me think... Pinocchio.
Pinocchio!
Let me cook you a nice meal, Pinocchio.
When Geppetto went inside, a mischievous woodpecker came to Pinocchio. Hey, kid! Tuck, tuck! What are you waiting for? The weather is beautiful! Come out!
Out?
Yup! Tuck, tuck! Go and run free! As the woodpecker said, Pinocchio went outside and started running. When Geppetto returned, he could not see his son where he had left him and was very alarmed. He went out and ran to find him, but because he was too old, he got tired and sat down. Pinocchio, on the other hand, was running around and got lost in the bazaar.
Ah! I mixed all the roads! How will I go back to my father now?
As Pinocchio wandered around sadly, his stomach rumbled with hunger. He saw a beautiful fruit stand up ahead. He dipped his hand and took a banana.
Hey, kid. You can't have my fruits for free. Don't you have parents? You have to give me money.
Oh, well, I actually have a lot of money, but at home.
At that moment, Pinocchio's nose began to grow.
Huh? My nose! What's wrong with my nose? My nose, my nose, my nose!
Pinocchio was running around in panic.
If you have money, you should bring it right away, kid.
Oh, no, no! Don't be angry! I can't because I don't have any money, sir!
When Pinocchio told the truth, his nose returned to its original state. But he ran away without realizing it. Finally, he stopped in front of a window and looked at his reflection in the glass.
My nose is the same as before!
Master Geppetto looked for his son from street to street until dark. Finally, when it started to rain, he started to wait in a corner, hoping that maybe his son would pass there.
Where are you, Pinocchio? My dear son, where are you?
Pinocchio, on the other hand, was drenched in the rain and smells like wet wood. He desperately jumped into a trash can to shelter from the rain. But in the morning, he realized that he was not alone in the trash can.
Hey, wooden kid, I'm very hungry. Let me nibble on a piece of your foot and fill my stomach.
Pinocchio was so scared that he wanted to leave immediately. But the mouse grabbed Pinocchio's foot with his huge hands.
No! Let me go! My dad is a tiger! If he sees you, he'll eat you in one bite!
If your father was a tiger, you would have a tail too!
Yes, I already have a tail!
When Pinocchio lied, his nose grew again.
My nose!
Then give me a bite of your tail!
Pinocchio jumped out of the trash can in fear.
Don't bite! I have no tail! I have no tail!
Pinocchio stood in front of a puddle and was relieved to see his reflection that his nose had returned to its original state.
That means I have a nose that gets longer when I lie and shorter when I tell the truth.
However, he did not notice the evil thief approaching him silently from behind. When the thief saw a puppet running and walking by himself, he wanted to steal it and sell it.
Thanks to you, I can make a huge amount of money. I'm rich now. Let me go! I'm a real kid. I'm not a talking puppet.
Master Geppetto looked at every shop and every street he saw throughout the day. But he could not find Pinocchio.
Maybe my son went to the beach, but what if he fell into the sea?
Geppetto rushed to the shore and began to look for him, calling out. In the meantime, he saw a strange-looking big man carrying a large cloth bag on his back. He approached him and asked him if he had seen a puppet child. Recognizing his father's voice, Pinocchio immediately started screaming.
Dad! I'm here! I'm here!
When Geppetto heard the voice of his son Pinocchio, he asked the man to give him back. The man, on the other hand, said that he would sell him and make a lot of money, and pushed Geppetto aside and continued walking. At that time, Pinocchio lied constantly inside the cloth bag.
Amanda, I'm a thief too! Well, I've got a lot of money! The color of my hat is also red!
And that way, his nose grew and the cloth bag was pierced. And he jumped out of the hole and ran to his father, Geppetto.
Daddy!
My son!
When the thief noticed this, he angrily walked up to them. Geppetto threw the fishing net on the ground at the thief. The thief got caught in the net and lost his balance and fell into the sea. Geppetto and his son Pinocchio hugged each other tightly. Pinocchio immediately restored his nose by telling all the truths he knew.
And also, I'm a good kid. I don't want to upset anyone. Besides, I love my dad so much.
At that moment, a miracle happened, and Pinocchio became a child of flesh and blood. From that day on, all the fathers and sons of the city believed that miracles are created out of love, not lies.
Rapunzel and the Princesses.
This is ridiculous. I quit.
Versus the Witches. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, on a night when wish lanterns adorned the sky, Rapunzel, Cinderella, the mermaid Aria, and Snow White were all under the ocean lighthouse. Each princess made a wish to make the world better, and the sun rose again. Rapunzel's tiny friend Clapsy woke up before all of the princesses set off to the magical forest to pick sweet cherries. The cherries were such a gorgeous red and so shiny that she couldn't help herself and ate a whole basket.
So delicious.
Then Clapsy noticed a baby deer passing through the trees. The deer had a hurt foot.
Hello, baby dear. What happened to you? Come with me. I know someone who can make you feel better.
Clapsy turned around and started to move forward when something about the baby deer changed. Its eyes turned glowing red, but Clapsy didn't notice the terrifying change and brought the deer to Snow White. Snow White had a magical power to heal animals. When Snow White approached the baby deer to heal its leg, the innocent-looking deer instantly transformed into the evil Queen Hela. When Snow White saw Hela, she was very frightened.
Hela, how did you find me here?
Hela waved her arms magically, and the ground beneath the princess split open, and Snow White fell into the depths of the chasm.
You will rot and grow ugly, Snow White. No one in this world can be as beautiful as I.
Snow White fell straight down into a tunnel and was imprisoned in a dungeon. But up above, the other princesses noticed Snow White's disappearance, and they all set out in search of her.
Snow White! Where are you?
Cinderella was walking in the area where Snow White went missing. She had taken a few steps more when... She fell into the dungeon too. Then the mermaid Aria was sent a seashell by the waves crashing on the shore and listened to it.
What? They took them underground?
The mermaid Aria gave the seashell back to the waves and immediately went to the magic forest. At the same time, Rapunzel and Clapsy had reached the spot where Snow White had disappeared.
Snow White! Where are you?
Where did you go?
Rapunzel! Look! The last time I saw her, she was right here.
And with those words, the ground split again. And just as Rapunzel was about to fall in, Aria, who was racing towards her, realized what was happening and used her arms to force Rapunzel out of the way. Rapunzel hung in a bubble of air and touched back on land. When Aria reached Rapunzel's side, the chasm in the ground was still open, and voices were coming from in it.
Help! Save us!
We can't get out of here. Upon hearing the princesses' voices, Rapunzel let down her hair into the pit to help them. Clinging to her hair, Aria lowered herself down.
We're coming! Don't worry!
Aria, look out! When Aria turned around to look, there she saw Vega and Hela.
Vega! How are you even here?
Apparently you've forgotten my powers, Aria. When Aria least expected it, Vega began to shoot ink from her octopus arms at her. Aria generated a shield around her to protect herself. At the same time, above ground, Rapunzel's baby dragon Drado had eaten so many dragon fruits that he turned into a huge dragon. Seeing this, Rapunzel understood that Drado had gained a lot of power. Drado, help us! Drado stomped his feet on the ground so hard that... What's going on? It's going to cave in on us! Ah! We'll be trapped down here! Realizing this was her chance, Arya used all her strength and pulled open the dungeon bars and got Snow White and Cinderella out of the tunnel. But of course, once topside, the princesses weren't out of the woods yet. In fact, they were right in the middle of the woods. Xenia and Camilla were standing right in front of the princesses.
Broom, sweep, sweep, sweep. A rock monster to make. Beating these princesses will be a piece of cake.
Camilla's magical broomstick, Broomy, swept up chunks of rock and placed them in front of Camilla. When there were enough rocks, Xenia used her powerful magic to create a giant stone man. The stone man stepped towards the princesses to hurt them. Rapunzel stretched her hair out like a rope and tied together the legs of the stone man. But while the stone man may have fallen, he was not beat. He got back up and began to run. I can't stop him! Mermaid Arya tried to use her power to the stone man in the air and sent him in another direction. But she couldn't. He's too heavy! I can't lift him! Next up was Cinderella, who began to call on the aid of all the animals in the forest. Hear me, beasts of the forest! The stone man was just steps away and about to hurt them when, up in the sky, the dragon Drado showed his might. Drado heaved a breath of fire at the stone man. The stone man lost his balance, crashed to the ground, but wasn't injured. When the dragon once again began to blast him with fire, the stone man tore off a piece of his arm and threw it at the dragon. The mermaid Arya took control of the rock chunk and stopped it from hitting the dragon. Drado was enraged by this and snatched the stone man in his claws, flying to the end of a cliff. And he let him go. Falling from a great height, the stone man was smashed into pieces. The dragon Drado could be seen in the hills. The witches were so scared of the power of the princesses and dragon that they immediately turned and ran away.
You can't defeat us when we stick together, witches. We got animals and a dragon and superpowers. But just a little love could have fixed everything.
Then all of the princesses climbed onto Drado's back and flew to the ocean lighthouse. Good had once again triumphed over evil. But what really matters is teaching goodness to evil hearts. Rapunzel, the friend of long hair. Once upon a time, in a faraway land warmed by the sun, there was a princess named Rapunzel. She lived together with her beloved Prince Rob in the most magnificent castle of the country. One day, Rapunzel was swinging on her hair at a tree in the castle's garden when she heard a voice she had never heard before.
Slow down a little. I'm falling off.
Huh? Who's saying that?
I can't hold on much longer. I'm falling off.
Am I daydreaming? What's that voice in my head?
It's me! Ugh.
The voice Rapunzel had heard belonged to the hair clip.
Were you the one talking to me?
Of course it was me. Or did you think you'd gone crazy?
The little hair clip started to walk, and Rapunzel, who had never seen a speaking hair clip before, followed. So, do you have a name?
Of course I do. My name is Clapsy.
So that means you've always been able to talk, Clapsy?
The only one I couldn't talk to was you.
Why is that? Little Clapsy stopped and began to tell Rapunzel everything.
I was a beautiful young girl like you once, too. Of course, my hair wasn't as long and blonde and shiny as yours. Whatever. One day, I went to pick up some black mulberries that grow in the dark forest.
You went alone in the dark forest?
Are you seriously going to interrupt the monologue of a talking hair clip? I found a giant mulberry tree, so I started to pick some mulberries. At that moment, I saw a bright, strange light in the forest. I was curious and moved closer to the light to see what was there. And in front of me, there stood a very old lady with a child. And that kid was you, Rapunzel. The lady was washing the kid's shiny hair in a river that was flowing through the forest. When the old woman dipped the kid's hair into the water of the river, it turned into gold balls. She took one of the gold balls in her hand and whispered something. Then the ball suddenly turned into a fan of gold. When the woman used the fan to cool her face, she became younger and younger. I couldn't believe my eyes. So I walked up to her, and then she suddenly spun around. What are you doing here? What have you seen? Tell me now. Did that hair just turn to gold? I said. Then the old lady, who looked young, transformed me into a hair clip. What did you do to me? Oh no! From now on, you're gonna be a hair clip that protects my little Rapunzel's hair.
Is that true? It happened because of me?
We have to break the spell. It was all the fault of that evil witch, Camilla. Only Camilla knows how to make me a human again.
Rapunzel and Clapsy agreed to make their way to the tower where the witch Camilla lived. After they walked a little while, deep into the forest, they came across a river. To cross the river, Rapunzel built a small boat out of her hair. They jumped on the boat and went to the other side of the river. After running around among the huge trees, they finally saw the high tower.
Here it is, the tower I was once trapped in. So, how are we going to climb up, Rapunzel? Let's see. We'll watch her from a safe distance.
Rapunzel put Clapsy to the ends of her hair. On both sides, she attached huge leaves like a kite. Then she threw her hair into the sky and to the top of the tower.
Alley-oop! Get along, little hair clip!
Clapsy floated through the sky and looked inside. What she saw first was a broomstick that swept the floor by itself. A moment later, she heard Camilla talking to the broomstick.
Broomstick, broomstick, my golden broomstick, Broomy. Tell me, how am I going to get Rapunzel's hair back? I can't live without my gold.
Don't be sad, my lady. If you'd just look out the window, you'd see that magic hair.
Clapsy went straight back to the ground.
Your brain is swept away, Broomy.
No, my lady, I'm telling the truth. If you don't believe me, just have a look.
Clapsy nervously told Rapunzel that Broomy had seen her. Camilla went to the window, although she still didn't believe what Broomy said. When she looked down,
she saw Rapunzel and Clapsy running away.
Stop! Don't go! I have changed. I'm not like I used to be anymore.
Rapunzel stopped for a second.
Clapsy, did you hear her? She has changed. Maybe she will help us. But how?
Rapunzel went back to the tower together with Clapsy. Camilla flew down from the tower, riding on Broomy. As soon as she saw Rapunzel's shiny hair, her eyes began to sparkle. She wanted to touch Rapunzel's hair and came closer.
Don't come too close, Camilla. I missed you so much, Rapunzel. If I touched your hair just for a moment...
We'll make a deal, Camilla.
I will give you some of my hair, and in return, you'll turn Clapsy back into a human. Yes, of course. Deal. Rapunzel! Give me your golden hair.
Rapunzel took a piece of her hair and handed it to Camilla. Camilla reached out for the hair and...
Finally, a piece of hair that will make me young again. Hurry up, now it's my turn. Turn me back to a human.
Camilla, who sat on Broomy and already flew away, shouted to them.
You must make the dragon behind the 7 summit mountains smile. Only then can you turn back to a human being. A dragon behind the 7 summit mountains? If Camilla says the truth, we will find that dragon for sure, Clapsy. Are you ready? We're leaving.
My lady, is there really a dragon on those mountains?
Of course there isn't.
Rapunzel attached Clapsy to her hair, and they made their way to the mountains for a big adventure. Rapunzel, the Gathering of the Princesses. Once upon a time, when the autumn leaves fell down from the trees, the most powerful and vicious witches came together. Camilla, Xenia, Hella, and Vega.
What am I, decoration? Don't forget about me.
And their vicious owl. They aimed to defeat every kind-hearted princess in the world and rule with evil and cruelty. On a beautiful day, Rapunzel was painting a picture of the watermelons in the castle's garden.
Those watermelons look so good, don't they, Clapsy? I bet they taste just as delicious.
So Clapsy went into the garden to taste a piece of watermelon. When suddenly, the baby dragon Drado appeared in front of her. He scared her with his evil gaze. So poor Clapsy slipped and fell directly into a watermelon out of fear.
Clapsy!
Her clumsiness made Rapunzel laugh, but Drado still didn't even give a smile to her.
Look at that huge watermelon! What's going on over there?
One of the watermelons Rapunzel was drawing became larger and larger, until it was the size of a house. Rapunzel, Drado, and Clapsy couldn't believe what they saw. Did you see what just happened? Let's look inside. When Rapunzel and Clapsy went in, they saw a small room with walls decorated in various patterns of watermelon seeds. And also a big glittering book.
The Book of Princesses? There are other princesses besides you, Rapunzel? I guess so.
Let's have a look at what's written inside. Whichever princess finds this book should read it with care, so you'll know which princesses live where. You'll never know when you need each other. Oh, other princesses? When all 4 princesses come together and unite, they will learn how powerful they are in a fight. Soon in the future, a new war will begin between princesses and witches, but who will win? By the time you finish reading, you won't have much time to seek all the friends you can find. Find Cinderella first and then get to the rest. And remember, my dear, kind hearts together are best. Rapunzel told Drato about what the book said and asked him to find Cinderella. The baby dragon took on this task and flew away in a hurry. After some time, he arrived somewhere to meet the 2 mice called Mozzarella and Cheddar. He told them about Rapunzel's message and that the princesses had to meet under the lighthouse. Mozzarella and Cheddar rushed to tell Cinderella, who immediately left to meet the other princesses. As she passed through the magic forest, she saw Freckled, who was picking blackberries. Hey, Freckled! Tell Snow White that we need to meet up under the lighthouse. So Freckled went right away to tell Snow White. And when Snow White went off, she saw Seagull Ringo flying over her and called, Hey, Ringo! Ringo! You have to tell Mermaid Aria! All the princesses must gather under the lighthouse! So Seagull Ringo flew to the palace at the beach to tell the mermaid what he heard. But the mermaid wasn't in the palace. So Ringo stood at the pier and started to whistle. Dolphy, who heard Ringo whistle, showed up through the waves. Ringo asked Dolphy to swim directly to the little mermaid and tell her the news of Snow White. Then Dolphy jumped into the water to swim to the underwater kingdom and told Aria what he heard. As soon as Aria understood what was going on, she quickly swam to the lighthouse on the sea's surface. When the mermaid arrived, her fishtail turned into human legs, and she quickly reached the place where the princesses had gathered. Hi, I'm Mermaid Aria. So you must be the other princesses? Aria, welcome. I'm Rapunzel. I'm Snow White. And my name is Cinderella. See, now we're all together. They talked until the sun took the place of the moon and told their stories to each other. At the end of the night, when the lighthouse lit up the sea, the princesses went into a forest area to discover their superpowers. It's time to show our power to the witches who want to spread evil around the world. That's right! We should get ready! Cinderella told the other princesses about her ability to speak with animals. Aha! So that means you can talk to my little dragon friend Drato? A dragon? Wonderful! Wow! It's so cool! Drato showed up. Hello, Drato. Can you speak my language? Yes, I'm glad to meet you. Wow, you really do talk to animals. So, what's your superpower, Mermaid Aria? I can make everything you see here move. The mermaid closed her eyes and put her hands together. With the scattered light around her, she lifted all the princesses into the air.
The princesses were very impressed by this power. Aria took them off again. But Cinderella lost her balance and hurt her ankle.
Ah, my ankle! My ankle hurts.
Snow White touched Cinderella's ankle with both her hands. And with the heat in between her hands,
This is brilliant, Snow White.
my ankle is cured. I can stand up.
And this is my superpower. With my hands, I can cure wounds.
Finally, Rapunzel whispered some magic words to her hair and lifted them up to the sky. Her golden, shiny hair split into 4 parts. Each part bent down to a princess and spread like gold dust. Then the parts became one again and formed a bridge that the princesses could cross.
My superpower is that I have control over my hair.
Wow, this is so cool.
Snow White, Mermaid Aria, Cinderella, and Rapunzel felt that their powers together could defeat the evil witches. So on one side, there were 4 good-hearted princesses. On the other were the 4 evil witches who stood together.
What about me? I'm standing here.
And an evil owl. But remember, Owl, in fairy tales, the good always wins over evil.